Right. That's why there are going to be fewer salespeople and BDR SDRs in the future, and why they're going reducing, but the sales reps will make more money because cold outreach by phone is just not, like we talked about, it's not effective enough anymore. Sure, some companies still do it and it's part of a process. And certainly if you incorporate Southeast Asia or Latin America, there's going to be some of that for a long time to come. But the number of companies that are relying upon that to drive leads and drive appointments to their salespeople is continuing to go down because their connection rates are too low. So you're going to have to you're going to have to drive inbound leads through a different medium, and email is the most natural way. So now email is driving inbound leads, and you're using maybe an SDR BDR person as a buffer to help get information to people and move them to the salesperson. Sometimes the salespeople, like we talked about, are going to be manning those inbound leads and taking them from scratch, right? It just depends on the company, what they sell to whom, a lot of different things. But ultimately, your salespeople in the United States are so highly paid in base in most cases and are so valuable, you cannot have them wasting time. They need to be dealing with inbound leads, buyers, appointments. They need to be scheduled. So since they can't waste time doing outbound, and again, account executives, account managers are calling on their customer base on a regular basis, but I'm talking about new leads. Your salespeople aren't calling those people. So now their schedules are filled, right? So their schedules are filled with potential customers and of course existing customers maybe on their schedule if they're, again, account executive, account manager. So your salespeople are scheduled full. If that's the case, and in very few companies is it right now, then the number of salespeople you're going to need is going to go down. But those salespeople are going to end up making more money because they're going to be scheduled all day long. They're going to be booked. Boom, 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 boom. And that's the way it should be. They need to be selling, not prospecting. And so you'll end up with fewer salespeople and ultimately fewer BDR, SDR people, because I contend you're going to be better off with your salespeople dealing with the inbound leads and moving them into calls with them directly if you can. Again, it goes down to the percentage of leads and that initial contact that end up real potential customers. If that number is decently high, then I want the salespeople to deal with the leads directly. If that number is lower, then we need to think about a buffer layer, a BDR, SDR type person to get information to people, get them on the phone, qualify them, make sure they're a fit, yada, yada, that stuff, and then move them to sales, right? But either way, I want salespeople sell most of their schedule selling. So now if that's the case, now you need fewer salespeople because so many of them are spending time prospecting still. And you won't need as many BDR, SDR people because if you're doing the right thing on the lead gen side, you have fewer salespeople. Now they can deal with the inbound leads and that kind of stuff because they're going to be far more optimized with their schedule. And therefore, those salespeople are going to make more money. They're going to end up making more money in the grand scheme of things in the United States. And they're going to have to because of cost of living keeps driving up. So that's a lot of the change that we're seeing. And then therefore, that old budget that you would have spent on base salaries for salespeople that were doing a lot of prospecting, you now have that budget allocated to marketing and advertising to drive inbound leads. And if you're a sales rep, you want that. Right? As long as you're cream of the crop, as long as you're confident that you're going to maintain, you're one of the top reps and you're always going to keep your job, you want inbound leads. You sure as heck don't want to be spending time prospecting because it's not a good use of your time, right? You want to spend your time selling. That's when you make money. You don't make money when you're prospecting. Exactly right. And that's why it's going to go that direction in the grand scheme of things. Absolutely.